This episode is brought to you by Sterling Soap Company. Fellas, you've heard the phrase, look good, feel good, right? But why not add smell good to that too? That's where Sterling Soap Company comes in. First, Sterling Soap is 100% natural and has a wide variety of bath soaps, shave soaps, beard balm, lotions, and cologne. Second, there's a scent just for you. How about burgundy? Yeah, it's more than a color. The Sterling Soap folks blend natural essential oils with hints of mahogany, golden amber, and sandalwood. Or how about D503, an intensely masculine scent inspired by Legend by Mont Blanc. And third, you will feel good about the price. For just a little more than you'd pay at the grocery store, Sterling Soap will leave you feeling clean, refreshed, and ready for whatever's next. Give Sterling Soap a try today. Visit sterlingsoap.com. It's January 30th, and on this day in 1983, John Riggins ran wild. This was Super Bowl XVII in Pasadena between the Washington Redskins and the Miami Dolphins. This was the strike-shortened year with teams playing just a 9-game regular season. The NFL had used a 16-team, 4-round playoff to compensate for the loss of regular season games, and this was a rematch of Super Bowl XVII, which was also played in Pasadena. Now, we talked about that one a few weeks back with Garo Yepremian's comically ineffective pass providing the only points for Washington in that one. Well, there was nothing clownish in this game, but there were a lot of fireworks. Scoreless in the first quarter, Dolphin quarterback David Woodley lit the first fuse with this play. Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen provided the commentary for NBC that day.
It's Hardy in motion. And wide open is Cephalon at the 50. Could go all the way. 40, 25, 15, and Miami has a touchdown.
That 76-yard Woodley to Cephalo hookup put the first points on the board for the Dolphins. Now, that play overshadowed just how badly Woodley played in this game. He completed only 3 more passes on the day for 21 yards. Help was on the way in a few months. The Dolphins drafted Dan Marino in the spring draft, largely based on Woodley's performance in this game. Good thing they didn't really have to rely on Woodley's arm to score points, though. After Alvin Garrett caught a 4-yard pass from Joe Theismann to make it a 10-10 game in the second quarter, another Dolphin exploded for a huge play.
Fulton Walker, the deep man for Miami. He had a 42-yard kickoff return the last time. From the 2. 20, he's in the open again. 30, 40, he's going to go all the way for a touchdown.
At the time, that was the longest scoring play in Super Bowl history. It remained the record for 26 years until Pittsburgh's James Harrison returned an interception 100 yards for a score in Super Bowl XLIII, a game we'll hear about in a couple of days. That has since been erased by Jacoby Jones's 109-yard kickoff return for a touchdown in Super Bowl XLVII. Now, the Dolphins took a 17-10 lead into the locker room at half. Mark Mosley added a field goal to make it 17-13 in the third, and it stayed that way into the fourth. And that's when John Riggins cranked up the diesel engine and got moving. Well, he'd actually been moving all day. He just didn't have more than some numbers on a stat sheet to show for it until the decisive play. Facing a 4th and inches at the Dolphin 43, Joe Gibbs decided to go for it, with Riggo getting the call.
Let's see who'll win this battle of strategy.
Riggins. He's going to go all the way, unless Blackwood can catch him, and he can't.
Riggins set a Super Bowl record with his 166 yards rushing on the day. He added a 15-yard reception, and he ended up with more yardage than the Dolphins' offense that day. Side note, Marcus Allen would eclipse Riggins' record the following year with his 191 yards on the ground. The current mark is Washington's Timmy Smith, who ran for 204 against Denver in Super Bowl XXII. The Redskins added another touchdown later to make it a 27-17 final. On this day in 2000, it was Super Bowl 34 and one of the all-time great finishes to a Super Bowl. This was the Tennessee Titans versus the St. Louis Rams. The Titans were fortunate to be here. They'd survived in their first-round playoff game against Buffalo with the Music City Miracle. They squeaked by Indianapolis 19-16, and then they beat Jacksonville in the AFC title game. The game was played indoors in Atlanta, which was a good thing. There'd been back-to-back ice storms in the area in weeks leading up to the game, which in a place like the Deep South, it can be paralyzing. The Rams built up a 16-0 lead in the third quarter and looked like they were just cruising with their greatest show on turf offense. With no team coming back from a deficit larger than 10 points in any previous Super Bowl, the probability was pretty slim for Tennessee. But the Titans did manage to put together a comeback, tying the game at 16 with 2:12 left. Rams quarterback Kurt Warner, who had thrown the ball around the yard in the first half, completing 19 passes for 277 yards, had struggled a little bit in the second half, completing only 4 passes for 64 yards, but that did include a touchdown. Well, on the first offensive play after the Titans tied it up, Warner adjusted those numbers a little bit.
Warner to throw. Going deep downfield, adjusting for it is Isaac Bruce, and Isaac Bruce threads his way for a touchdown. 73 yards.
The Titans got the ball back with 1 minute 34 seconds left, and after a holding penalty on the kickoff, they had to go 88 yards for the tie. Sadly for Tennessee fans, they would only get 87.5 yards down the field. After a series of completions, drive-sustaining penalties by the Rams, and an amazing Houdini escape from Steve McNair to complete a pass to Kevin Dyson at the 10-yard line, the Titans had first and goal with 10 seconds left.
From the 10, probably the final play of the game in regulation. It is caught by Dyson. Can he get in? No, he cannot. Mike Jones made the tackle. And the Rams have won the Super Bowl.
Now, like most plays in the NFL, this one had a coverage read with Dyson going in motion, and that let McNair and Dyson know that it was zone coverage, signaling that the ball was going to either Dyson or Frank Wycheck. Wycheck was the primary target on the play, and initially his route drug Mike Jones towards the end zone. But seeing Dyson cutting inside, Jones passed Wycheck off to the corner, and he adjusted to Dyson, making the game-saving tackle. It was the first Super Bowl win for the Rams, and the first NFL championship they'd won since 1951. On this day in 1996, Magic Johnson returned to the NBA after a 4-year hiatus. The scene was the Great Western Forum in LA, with the Lakers hosting Golden State. Johnson had retired from the NBA in November of 1991, following his HIV-positive announcement. The 96 LA Lakers were no longer the Showtime Lakers of the 80s, and they were just 6 games over 500 at this point in the season. Magic's comeback was the jumper cables that the Lakers needed to ignite their engine for a playoff run. Entering the game 2.5 minutes into the first quarter, he was met with a standing ovation from the Forum crowd, and then he showed flashes of the old Magic.
Magic Johnson, open court, no look, one touch, Sabalas! Oh, baby, and the foul.
Ball is down to Magic Johnson. Magic looking for the pass to Sabalas.
Oh, goodness, 3 assists.
Mullen lobbing, cycling, bad lob. Lakers back quickly, Magic running. Finding Eddie Jones for the tomahawk.
He was 30 pounds heavier than he'd been 4 years earlier, but he dished, he ball faked his way to the basket, and he knocked down shots. He finished with 19 points, 10 assists, and 8 rebounds in 27 minutes in a 128-118 win over the Warriors. The Lakers had a pretty good run the rest of the way, too, winning 29 out of 40. Magic averaged 15 points, 6 boards, and 7 assists over that stretch. The Lakers made the playoffs, but they were bounced in the first round by Houston. And after the Lakers were eliminated, Magic announced that he was retiring for good, happy to go out on his terms this time. Now, interesting fact, Magic had purchased a 5% ownership stake in the Lakers after his first retirement. In order to return to the Lakers in '96, he had to sell his stake, and signed a $2.5 million contract for the season. And on this day in 2018, James Harden scored 60 points in a 114-107 win over the Orlando Magic. Now, scoring 60 is pretty special, but what made this one a one-of-a-kind event is it was part of a triple-double. He added 11 assists and 10 rebounds, marking the first 60-point triple-double in NBA history. Luka Doncic joined Harden on that rare list in 2022. And time now for today's That's Got Nothing to Do with Sports fun fact. Abraham Lincoln is the only president to ever receive a patent. He designed a system to use inflatable bellows to help ships stuck on sandbars. He received the patent in 1849, but his product was never put into production. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.